Breaking news tonight, the stunning revelation, the entire East Wing of the White House set to be demolished within days, all part of President Trump's extensive ballroom project. The walls of the White House ripped open today, massive machinery tearing into the East Wing. The new reporting today on just how expansive the president's plan to build the giant ballroom is. Deadly new U.S. military strike, another alleged drug boat hit, killing two, this time in the Pacific. What the president just said about attacks on land. Russia's new attacks on Ukraine, striking a kindergarten classroom. Kids rushed from the blast, toys and tiny chairs scattered everywhere. The White House tonight targeting Russia's two largest oil companies with sanctions. Our Keir Simmons on the ground in Moscow. The new hurricane threat, Tropical Storm Melissa, drenching the Caribbean and growing stronger. Why the models of its path are so confusing. Terrifying crash landing, a plane smashing into the middle of a crowded soccer field, a woman on the ground hit, and the video just in of another deadly small plane crash. What happened here? The Louvre back open as authorities race to find the stolen jewels. What we're learning about the security camera outside the gallery, why it was facing the wrong way. Amazon's robot revolution will take you inside their lab where AI is growing, and the new opportunity for human employees. The dramatic rescue, a truck dangling off an overpass, the race to save the driver. Medical marvel, a Parkinson's patient playing the clarinet during brain surgery, how it helped her doctors. And Michael Jordan opening up in a revealing new interview why he didn't touch a basketball for years. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. Tonight we're learning just how dramatic and expansive the president's White House ballroom project really is. New pictures show the extent of the demolition. You see it right here. Construction equipment tearing into the historic East Wing building tonight. And now NBC News has learned the entire East Wing will come down in a matter of days, that according to two White House officials. It is a major shift from what the president said this summer when he promised the new ballroom wouldn't touch the existing East Wing. Tonight, President Trump showing renderings of what this new space may look like. And take a look, it's almost bigger than the White House itself. A Trump administration official acknowledged the process is fluid and said the demolition is part of plans for the East Wing to be, quote, modernized and rebuilt. But critics say the administration is tearing down history. It's where we begin tonight with Gabe Gutierrez at the White House.
Tonight, NBC News learning the entire East Wing of the White House will be demolished within days, according to two Trump administration officials, as the president builds a new 90,000 square foot ballroom paid for by himself and private donors, among them Comcast, NBC's parent company.
This is a plan, if it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it.
Late today, the president showing off renderings of the massive structure, which he says is now expected to cost around $300 million.
Over the years, many presidents have made changes. This obviously would be the biggest change, but this was something they've wanted for at least 150 years.
But tonight, the White House is facing backlash. The National Trust for Historic Preservation, a nonprofit created by Congress to help preserve historic buildings, sent a letter to administration officials, warning the planned ballroom will overwhelm the White House itself, which is only about 55,000 square feet. Despite the president promising this in July,
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
A White House official now says the scope and the size of the ballroom project have always been subject to vary as the process develops. Democrats are blasting the plan.
It's his personal whim, and it is sort of emblematic of the authoritarian, tyrannical approach that this president takes to power.
All right, Gabe joins us live from the White House. And Gabe, I know you've asked to see what's happening at the East Wing. What did they tell you?
Yes, we have, Tom. A senior White House official tells me the administration expects to take reporters to the site at some point soon, once demolition is complete. Meanwhile, the Treasury Department, which is next door, has told its staff not to share photos of the East Wing because they could reveal sensitive items. Tom?
All right, Gabe Gutierrez leading us off. There was a new U.S. strike today on what the Trump administration says is another boat trying to smuggle drugs into the U.S. And now the president is warning strikes against the cartels on land could be coming very soon. Here's Courtney Cubey.
Tonight, this video showing another deadly U.S. military strike against a boat allegedly smuggling drugs to the U.S., killing 2 narco-terrorists on board, according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Posting the strike was in international waters, but for the first time, the boat was traveling in the Eastern Pacific rather than the Caribbean Sea. President Trump tonight suggesting he'll soon order strikes on cartels smuggling drugs by land, too.
Something very serious is going to happen, the equivalent of what's happening by sea. And we're going to Congress just to tell them what we're doing, just to keep them informed. But we have to do it for national security. We have to do it to save lives.
This is the 8th strike the Trump administration has announced against alleged drug boats since early September, killing at least 36 people. 2 men survived a U.S. airstrike on their semi-submersible boat last week, the U.S. Navy plucking them from the water and transferring them to Colombia and to Ecuador. But tonight, a U.S. official says Ecuador has already released the man transferred to their custody. Some lawmakers have questioned the legality of the strikes, but President Trump again tonight defending his effort against cartels.
You realize that every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets knocked out is saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country.
Courtney joins us now live. Courtney, let's go back to those 2 survivors in one of those recent strikes. Do we know what's happened to them?
Yeah, Tom, the Trump administration says it provided information and evidence to both Colombia and to Ecuador to show these men were trafficking drugs. At this point, Colombia says it will prosecute one of them, while Ecuador released the other. Tom?
Okay, Courtney, thank you. Also tonight, President Trump ramping up pressure on Russia to make a peace deal in Ukraine, unleashing new sanctions on Russia's 2 largest oil companies, saying they are funding Russia's war machine. Keir Simmons is in Russia for us tonight.
Tonight, the Trump administration ramping up pressure on Russia to end its war in Ukraine.
I just felt it was time. Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their 2 big oil companies, and we hope that they won't be on for long.
New sanctions hitting Russia's 2 largest oil companies. In response, the Treasury Department says, to Russia's, quote, lack of serious commitment to a peace process. It comes after new Russian airstrikes, firefighters carrying children from the rubble after Ukrainian officials say a kindergarten was hit, while Russia's President Putin today overseeing a nuclear exercise. As administration officials tell NBC News, a tense call between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russia's foreign minister ended after Moscow said fighting will continue until it gets concessions from Ukraine.
For Trump, its primary goal is to stop the war.
And the Kremlin thinks?
The Kremlin thinks that it's unacceptable. Unacceptable because this is in favor of Ukraine.
Ukraine's President Zelensky has been calling on the Trump administration to put more pressure on President Putin. Tonight, these new sanctions are aimed directly at the Kremlin's war economy. Tom?
Keir Simmons from Moscow tonight. Now to the new hurricane threat. Tropical storm Melissa growing, threatening the Caribbean now and even the East Coast. Everyone's watching this very closely. Bill Cairns joins us, and the storm is barely moving. That's a big concern.
A huge concern with rainfall, but this looks like our most dangerous threat of the hurricane season. Now just south of Haiti, it's going to do a slow crawl near Jamaica, and it's going to take like 5 days to get there. And in the meantime, it's over some of the warmest water on the planet. That's the high-octane fuel for this storm, and that's why we think it's going to get to at least a Category 4. Wouldn't surprise me at all to get up to a Category 5 near Jamaica by the end of the weekend.
And Bill, the track on this storm is incredibly confusing. Explain to our viewers why.
Yeah, the winds is what steers these storms, and so the wind is very, very light, aloft like where the jets fly. So in other words, this is going to be like a sailboat without sails out over the ocean for the next 5 days. It's not till early next week that we see that northeast turn. So wherever it's located in about 5 days from now, then it either heads up towards Cuba or possibly towards Haiti, but a devastating storm nonetheless.
All right, going to be some time till we know. All right, Bill, we thank you for that. Now to the new clashes involving immigration officers and the new details tonight about a shooting that left 2 people injured. Here's Morgan Chesky.
I'm not doing nothing. Shouts and confusion during an ICE raid on New York City's Canal Street. Tonight, the Department of Homeland Security responded after the enforcement operation prompted backlash from Democratic officials in New York.
None of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
DHS saying this was a targeted raid, resulting in 9 arrests of suspects in the country illegally, with criminal histories including robbery, assault, domestic violence, and drug trafficking.
We arrested criminally illegal aliens that have horrible rap sheets. So is that the people they want to protect? I don't think so.
And new details on this operation that ended in gunfire in LA's popular fashion district. This video shows officers arresting Carlitos Ricardo Perias, who documents ICE activity on TikTok. Prosecutors say when federal officers tried to serve an immigration arrest warrant on Perias, he repeatedly rammed officers' vehicles, his spinning tires creating smoke. One ICE agent fired his handgun, wounding both Perias and a deputy U.S. Marshal hit by a ricochet.
Almost daily, we have 2 to 3 of these ramming incidents, which is a deadly force. You know, and it's putting our officers and agents at risk.
Tonight, Perias' attorney says he is described as a pillar of the very community he was arrested in.
And a lot of members of that community, they depend on him for knowledge as to what's going on around them.
Morgan joins us now live. Morgan, I know our reporters have just broken a story about recruits trying to join ICE ranks.
Yeah, Tom, in the rush to hire these new federal immigration officers, one current and 2 former DHS officials tell NBC News that recruits are going into training before they've completed the agency's vetting process. DHS says that most recruits have former law enforcement training and have already been through other training as well. Tom?
More of that reporting on our website right now. Morgan, we thank you. We staying out west. Frightening moments when a small plane crashed into the middle of a soccer field in Southern California. One woman on the ground hit. Liz Kreutz now has the harrowing details.
A terrifying incident in Southern California. This small plane making an emergency landing at a popular park in Long Beach, injuring a woman on the ground as it came crashing down.
Looks like they got someone on a stretcher, and there's emergency services are responding.
The fire department says the pilot of the single-engine aircraft, an elderly man, survived and was taken to a hospital. The woman who was injured, 42-year-old Tiffany Harrison, a family friend telling NBC News she is deaf and was walking her dog when part of the plane hit her from behind.
Her mother, Shanna, told me that it's definitely a broken pelvic and 3 broken vertebrae in the spine.
Flight tracking data shows this flight originated east of LA. It was on its way to the Long Beach airport when it landed right here. Neighbors say this is often a busy park filled with kids playing soccer.
Meanwhile, in Venezuela, this horrific crash of a small plane just after takeoff. Authorities there say 2 crew members died on board. Back here at home, 2 other aircrafts were also forced to make emergency landings Tuesday. Outside Las Vegas, police say this single-engine Cessna landed on an interstate after reporting engine issues. And in San Diego, a pilot diverted to the beach after his engine also began to fail.
Well, the engine quit and landed on the beach.
Fortunately, no one was injured in those 2 incidents in what was a series of near disasters across the West. Liz Kreutz, NBC News, Long Beach, California.
To Paris now, and the Louvre reopening today for the first time since that massive jewel heist. A heist we now know worth $102 million. Our Raf Sanchez is in Paris tonight live for us. And Raf, we learned new details about the security lapses there and a certain camera.
Yeah, Tom, the director of the Louvre appeared in front of a French Senate committee today and acknowledged failings on the part of her museum. She said the only security camera outside the Apollo gallery where those jewels were being kept was facing the opposite direction to the balcony the thieves used to break in. So no one saw the gang climbing up that ladder truck until it was too late. She also said the museum's infrastructure is so old it's difficult to install modern security systems, and that she offered her resignation to the French government, but that it wasn't accepted. Tom?
All right, Raf Sanchez, a lot of new reporting there. Raf, we thank you. When we return, the future of Amazon, we go inside their robot lab, how AI is dramatically changing their workforce, and why the company says this could be good for some workers. We'll explain. We're back now with an inside look at Amazon's new robot workforce. The company says they are the future, but also that human workers won't be left behind. Vicky Nguyen reports from inside Amazon's Innovation Lab.
Amazon believes that robots like these are the future. At this facility outside Boston, we saw how they can lift, scan, and place products, the kind of work Aaron Martin used to do.
It'll suction onto the box to pick it up, and then it'll place it in the tote where it needs to go.
Is this robot doing work that humans used to do?
Similar, yes. It's just this could run 24/7.
4 years ago, he was stocking bins in an Amazon warehouse.
I used to just stow product in aisles of bins.
Now machines can do that work faster and with fewer injuries. We asked Amazon HR Vice President Ofori Agboka what that means for workers.
When people ask you yes or no, will the workforce at Amazon shrink as a result of automation, robots, AI, what do you say?
Our populations and sizes where people sit in the footprint is going to vary as we grow.
So it'll change.
It'll vary as we grow.
In June, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy announced plans to, quote, reduce our total workforce as we get efficiency gains using AI. And a New York Times report citing internal documents says Amazon's robotics team has a goal to automate 75% of its operations, translating to 600,000 people whom Amazon didn't need to hire by 2033. Amazon says the documents in the Times report are incomplete and reflect the perspective of just one team and don't represent our overall hiring strategy.
Do you see a time where the number of robots will be higher than the number of people employed by Amazon?
I don't foresee that. AI is going to change the nature of everything we do, but the key is getting familiar with it.
For Aaron Martin, the solution is upskilling.
You got paid to go to school.
He enrolled in Amazon's apprenticeship program to learn how to repair the robots that do the very work he used to, earning more than $40 an hour. Amazon says more than 300,000 U.S. employees have trained for new roles as AI and automation change or replace their jobs.
When people are like cynical and they're like, AI is coming, that's going to take our jobs, it's going to ruin humanity, what do you say to that?
I don't think so. This isn't Terminator.
All right, and with that, Vicky joins us in studio. So, Vicky, it's not just Amazon that's going to feel the effects of AI.
Definitely not, Tom. Walmart, the nation's top private employer, is saying its headcount will remain flat over the next 3 years, in part because of AI. So hiring experts say, here's what you do now. Talk to your managers, lean into AI, ask what you can do to AI-proof your job.
All right, Vicky Nguyen for us. Vicky, we thank you. And we are back in a moment with the new video just in. Look at this. The truck driver rescued after his rig was dangling over a Texas overpass. Plus, look at why doctors needed this woman to play the clarinet during brain surgery. How it helped them. That's next. We are back now with a dramatic rescue in Texas. Take a look at this. A truck dangling off a highway overpass after the driver lost control trying to avoid a collision. The fire department raced in to help rescue that driver who was stuck inside. Eventually, they were able to pull him to safety with only minor injuries. That's incredible. Now to an urgent search for an American who went overboard a Norwegian cruise line ship heading for Miami. It happened near the Azores. The Portuguese Air Force, the cruise line, and nearby fishing boats all trying to help and find the 26-year-old. And in London, a medical miracle. Watch this. A patient with Parkinson's disease plays the clarinet while undergoing deep brain stimulation, a procedure designed to improve motor skills. 65-year-old Denise Bacon stayed awake for the brain surgery, playing the instrument as doctors implanted electrodes into her brain, and it worked. Doctors witnessed an instant improvement in her hand movements and ability to play music. Incredible. When we come back, Michael Jordan's NBA return, opening up about why he wishes he could take on the greats of the game right now. That's next. Finally tonight, there is good news for basketball fans across the country who are hearing from the legend himself. In a rare interview, Michael Jordan speaking to our Mike Tirico as he takes on a new role for the NBA, this time as a special contributor for NBC.
I wish I could take a magic pill, put on shorts, and go out and play the game of basketball today, because that's who I am. That's that type of competition, that type of competitiveness is what I live for, and I miss it. I miss that aspect of playing the game of basketball, being able to challenge myself against what people see as great basketball.
22 years since retiring from the NBA, Michael Jordan is talking once again.
You ever pick up a ball and just shoot? I haven't picked up a ball in years.
Surprising fans that one of the last times he held a ball was when he rented a house during the Ryder Cup, and the owner asked him for a favor to shoot a free throw for his grandkids.
It's the most nervous I've been in years.
Stop it.
In years.
Stop it. Come on.
And reason being is those kids heard the stories from the parents about what I did 30 years ago.
I hope you switched it.
Absolutely.
These days, Jordan's saying his focus is on his family, catching up on the valuable time lost during his prime. A defining time that fans are celebrating to this day. His 1986 rookie card selling this week for a record $2.7 million. For now, Jordan says he feels a duty to share his thoughts on the game.
You know, that's part of what, this is all about, is to pass it, pay it forward.
Looking forward to seeing more of MJ and Tirico this season. That's Nightly News for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.